And good morning. Welcome to Flashpoint. I'm Lauren Rowe. Boy, do I have a show for you this morning. It's water cooler talk, right? This is what we've been talking about anytime you want to talk about the legislature. But here's the other thing. There's really important work to be done in the legislature. What are the priorities, and are they hurting or helping you, these laws that are supposed to help you live healthier, safer lives? That's the debate here on Flashpoint. Let's get started. You guys have some bills right now that are being discussed, bantered around. They have nothing to do with our financial crisis or really what a lot of people would consider the top priorities of the day. In fact, newspaper editorials have slammed you guys recently. Let me read one from the Florida Today. And here's what they had to say in their op-ed. Let me see it. Our state has the 4th highest foreclosure rate in the nation, with hundreds of thousands of homeowners losing their houses. Despite such concerns, a hard-right group of lawmakers in Tallahassee is wasting your time and money on the culture wars and sticking their nose where it doesn't belong, into the private lives of citizens. Your response to editorials like that?
Well, you know, about an hour ago, I called the staff of the Florida House, and I asked them how many bills there were in this session right now that have been filed in the House. They said there were 892 bills, okay? Right now, we're talking about 4 or 5 of those bills. So for anyone who says that we're spending all of our time discussing all this issue, that really doesn't offer, it's not backed up by any form of numbers. We're discussing a lot of things, huge financial impact, but there is also a place and time for us to discuss what role government should play with the family, as John spends a lot of his time focusing on, and in other issues. There is one absolute obligation we have as a state government, that is that we pass a budget. Everything else is not constitutionally required. I think last year we passed 315 or so bills out of the House. So any kind of characterization that says that the only thing we're doing is just wasting our time on this is absolutely factually inaccurate. But yes, we are, as part of a bigger debate about where our state should go, having that conversation right now.
All right, let's talk marriage first.
Okay.
The marriage education bill, which has been dubbed in the media as the marriage tax, it's not what it's actually called. It would add $100 to the state's $93.50 marriage license fee. The $100 would be refunded if they do 8 hours of premarital counseling. Currently, under the 1998 Marriage Preparation Act, $32.50 of the marriage license fee is refunded if couples participate in 4 hours of counseling. Do any of the couples that go for this marriage license, I went for one too, and I didn't even know if I remember if there was an actual counseling class, but do any of them take it up right now? I mean, do any of them actually do the 4 hours of marriage counseling?
It's a very small percentage.
John, you can answer that too.
Sure, it's a very small percentage that use it, which is why. That's right. It needs to be increased because, you know, there was a study done last year on the taxpayers' cost to divorce and unwed childbearing, and it's enormous. We spend as a state $1.9 billion a year as a result of family fragmentation. What this bill does is it creates an optional, avoidable, one-time fee that will significantly reduce the taxpayer's burden by strengthening families and strengthening marriages. And so it also creates a positive incentive for couples to do the right thing and to get preparation. You know, I mean, how many years do we spend getting educated for our careers? This is a lifelong relationship that is the most challenging and complex human relationship, and how much time do we spend preparing for it?
The money goes to a pool, and it is for faith-based counseling.
Private groups that are doing marriage strengthening, whether it's premarital counseling or strengthening marriages or crisis marriages, they can apply for grants through DCF to get funding to help them do their work.
So that would be not just faith-based, that would be any marriage counselor?
But remember this is not a new program. This program has been in place since 1998. I might add that in 1998 it was brought about by a Democrat state representative and a Democrat state senator and signed into law by a Democrat governor. It has been installed. All this does is adjust the costs up so that more than 2% of the people will participate in the program. One of the major causes of dissolution of marriage is when people don't have a clear understanding of what they're getting into when they get married. And what this program does, it tries to offer some incentive to expanding on a program that's already been on the books now for a decade.
This is what you're worrying about, whether couples have marriage counseling.
Sure.
Seems like an awfully big, you know, I understand it's a small fragment of what's going on in the state capitol, but I would much rather have you spend your time and spin your wheels and get your nose out of people's bedrooms and their marriage, and it's between them and their God and their faith and their whatever.
This is a program that already exists. We're not creating a new program. We're expanding a program to try and convince more people to, to take advantage of it. The fact is that the state taxpayers do have to pay for many of the outfalls that come from broken marriage. And if that's going to be part of our economic environment, what we're saying is let's spend a little bit of time, spend 8 hours thinking about what goes into a marriage. Are we going to have the same checking account? Are we going to, how are we going to, where are we going to spend Thanksgiving holidays? Your parents or my parents? Simple, fundamental questions that many times people don't think about before they take that huge plunge.
Where do we stand on that bill?
Where do I stand on that bill?
Where's the legislature right now on this bill?
I can't speak to the Senate. It's passed through 2 House committees thus far, and thus far, it's received bipartisan support. I think only 1 person in 2 committees has voted against it.
To rich people, $100 doesn't mean much. But to somebody who is on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, that $100 is going to hurt them. And it's not going to do what you intend.
John, could you respond to that?
We want them to see that and say, you know what, we can save $132.50 if we get preparation. That's precisely why the fee is there. Because statistically, those that do not prepare are at greater risk for having divorce and for family fragmentation. So if they're going to undertake the risks, then they should undertake some of the financial responsibility.
Point taken, but can you respond to what Moira believes, and a lot of people believe, is really just this campaign or this crusade, you could say, to continue to define marriage within what you all believe marriage to be, whether it's healthy or not healthy. You still have a definition of what it is.
Sure. Since the beginning of time, society has always regulated the entrance rules and the exit rules to marriage. That's nothing new. Sometimes they did it with intense social pressure and mores and culture, sometimes with the church when there was a homogenous society, but every civilized modern society has always regulated marriage through public policy. That's nothing new. What we're doing is we're creating an optional, this is not something mandatory, this is an option. They can opt in to get the counseling or not. It is important enough, if we made it mandatory, Scott, you'd be arguing that it's government interference. It's just giving them a choice. They can either pay a higher fee or they can get prepared.
Okay, I got to take a break. I think you answered the question.